Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Rabbi Gfirli, may God forgive me and forgive us for the sins that we know about and the sins we don't. Okay. To begin. How exciting is it that we are human beings? How exciting is it that there is existence and there is an ability to experience this existence? How incredible is it that there is anything at all, that we find ourselves not in a contentless but a contentful world? As one human being here, and as also a Muslim, and as also someone who has deeply attempted to observe the nature of reality, I will attempt to answer the question, why are we here? The mystery of why are we here. I can't answer it, but I can in some sense try to see how far I can extend my telescope. And so we begin by changing the song. All right, guys. First of all, why did I begin the lecture with a prayer? With the name of God. It is very simple. Human beings are born, and life is all about value propositions. Your experiences are shifting your value system. You have a value system, and your value system, due to the depths of the mystery of the mind, has conscious and unconscious components to it. Even though we are a creature that has sought power, even though we are a creature that bends to power, people don't understand this. It has been clear to me in this lifetime that the human being can bend to the will of many things. You see, they try to paint life, they try to paint you this picture of life that your greatest self is the only self that is valid. But in reality, you can never reach your greatest self as long as you can still keep reaching. So we have to look at the situation of life. We have to look at this world, and based on how a human being does this, they get a value proposition. And so I am explaining to you, I am giving this lecture like someone who's opened his eyes in a world, and this world has proposed a value to him. And I am speaking about that value. Now, something to keep in mind. First, all praise due to the Lord of the worlds. There is a system administrator here. There is no question. The question is how do we interact with the system admin. But you know, it's one thing shouting on top of a mountain. It's another thing, you know, flying someone up there. So in this mountain of a perception to reality that somehow has been proposed to me by my experiences, the mystery has been there, okay? It is no new question. From time immemorial, creatures have opened their eyes and interacted with where they are and what they are, as what they are. And because we're in existence and we're inside an existential system, it's as if there are 3 levels to this world. And I would say most people are level 2. Those people in level 1 are in situations where they're actually experiencing level 1 and 3. But I will explain to you. Level 1 is the body. The experience of physicalism. Level 2 is experiencing this physicalism we call objectivism. And level 2 is how you are a mind, how you're intelligent. It has to do with your intelligence. And it comes across as a self-organizing one, meaning that every human being right now hearing this, if you have an ability to hear anything at all, like understand anything at all, you have already self-organized yourself into a context. You're already being a character in a story for yourself. That's what level 2 is. Level 2 is realizing the limits of our subjective life. Level 3 is realizing that there are, after realizing the limitations of your existence, you come across the idea of you just open up to the unknown. The unknown is kind of like you're sitting waiting, right? But at the same time, it is where the ultimate probabilities to reality are. Level 3 of the Earth game is to notice the system admin. Do you know what that means? That means people are self-absorbed. If you saw everything as code, every person you're seeing, it's like they have ego code, okay? That means they have, they are positioned as a program to themselves. But the interesting thing about the human being is that it becomes part of the programs it's contexted in. water is a blessing. All right, guys. I mean, maybe I'm being a bit vague here. Let me see what I can say to you. The title of the episode is The Mystery of Why We Are Here. The mystery of why we are here requires us to examine and observe where we are. So the whole point of this lecture, it is in some sense opening from this idea of like, okay, I am conscious somewhere. Now, what is going on with this whole consciousness? What is going on with the knowledge that I am here? What do you do with knowing you exist? That's the mystery of why we're here. Now, when you typically look at it, I mean, pretty much when it comes to analysis, we have past, present, future. When you look at the past, the human being had way more reasons to be an external entity. That means they were living in a world. The world was their one and only simulation. Until language arose, then a new simulation arose. The simulation of not just objects in the void, but this personalized simulation of meaning to these objects that have appeared in the world. It's like there's an empty piece of paper and we've opened our eyes and we're drawing lines. It's like we're in the middle of drawing an artwork and we've opened our eyes and we're like, wait a minute, why are we drawing this artwork? Guys, before I really dive into this, an inspiration for this episode was that I asked the viewers what topics they would like to hear me talk about in the next lecture. And there was a very honorable fan named Stephanie who said the system admin. And then I asked generally or specifically. And then she responded, and I'm going to try to answer these and then comfortably. So specifically the difference between religion and spirituality. It's all about noticing the system admin. The whole shift from personalized meaning to impersonalized reality, to the awareness that there is a truth beyond you, so you're limited. So what do you do? So you can say spirituality is for those who are still trying to find the truth of themselves. They're still trying to, it's like a spiritual person wants to become like the epitome, the peak of the best possibility of itself, right? It's another way of saying spirituality is you still in a lesser game. Religion is a superior game, and I will explain this, okay? And it's very, very fascinating because that's what really makes one inspired to speak about it. How massive the unknown aspects of it are. So the difference between religion and spirituality. Is really, okay, typically a person, is born, raised religious, becomes spiritual. This is like the traditional. I was different. I became spiritual, and then I, observed my cultural programs, and then through an experience, I realized there's a system admin, right? I mean, there's nothing to really, because the world is a simulation, I can't claim anything of it, but I can say that I have had experiences where I've felt the presence of the system admin. This does not make me a holy person or anything like that. It's just making me really what the human position is, an ability to interact. So religion for me became Religion is for those who they found something more important than themselves. Spirituality is for those who still think they are the most important thing to themselves. It's a matter of, like, again, which game you're playing, right? That means, are you in this world trying to play the superhero game? Are you trying to become a spiritual superhero? Or are you here being like, wait a minute, what if the truth of our situation is irrelevant to my ego code? This collection of this system of meaning I've created for myself. What if the actuality of how the system works is beyond? You see, for me, the smartest people, right? They are, let me tell you why a person teaches. A person teaches only when they've reached the edge of something and they to come back. What that means is, if reality kept opening up, the exploration would cause an inability to look back. Religion is for those who consider that there is an original being that originated the system, observing everything originally. That means we are, by the nature of being in a simulation, you know, we are fiction in the presence of non-fiction. And we are being tested in the fiction to see if we can notice the non-fiction. That's what religion is, noticing the non-fiction, right? Spirituality is still being absorbed by yourself. Do you understand? There's some people playing a bigger game and some people playing a smaller game. The smaller game is spirituality. The bigger game is connecting to the system admin. So, and then Stephanie says, noticing the original in the simulation. The way you notice the original in the simulation is by noticing how you're simulated. For me, I noticed the original by reaching a point of powerlessness. I found God when I felt powerless. Powerless not in the, like, yes, in external factors, but also in the idea that there's infinite viewpoints one can have to reality. So what is the right viewpoint? Because we're in the system, we cannot know it. Not that we cannot know it, we cannot know exactly which. That means, imagine they gave you a multiple choice, but it was infinite multiple choice, and you had to choose the right one. To me, the mystery of life becomes evident when you realize you're limited. And we're actually not in the game of, like, becoming ultimate power. That's nonsense. The actual game is, what do we do with our limited position, and why do we have an awareness to our limitations? Why does the human being have system admin privileges? So here, Stephanie asks the 3 levels. Here, I'll just read it. The three levels. I'd like to hear more about experiencing level 3. You said God created man for the purpose of worshiping him. Guys, I didn't say this. I mean, no. I relayed it. This is actually a passage from the Holy Quran, that God created man and jinn kind only for the purpose of worshiping him. And when you look at what really worship is, it is establishing a relationship with a higher power. Do you understand what I'm saying? So when you wonder about how to establish a relationship with higher power, with any sort of higher power, that's kind of like a religious act. But the importance of religion is, what is the conclusion? Do you know? That means, some people, like, we weren't alive then, back in the day, but I want to take you to the 6th century, and I want you to just imagine you're a villager in a village. And I want you to imagine everybody in that village is suddenly surprised. Everybody has this unique energy of like, oh my God, is something new happening, right? And then they come and see an individual come and say, all the idols of your worship are hollow. That means what the prophets did was that they rendered the world as a simulation. They pretty much shouted at simulated entities like, wake up, right? But wake up to what? And now the situation is that mankind is blessed. Let me tell you why our species is blessed. Because the ultimatum is, either we're in an empty room of self-painted meaning, or we are guests of the honor of the one and only. Do you understand the difference of it? You think on some level your value is based on how you're being a physical being right now. You're extracting value only because of like where you are right now. Okay? In other words, you think what you are aware of right now. But once you see the limitations of your awareness, then the question comes, how can I know beyond myself? The only answer is, if there is a being beyond yourself. In other words, a world where the original intelligence is still intact is way more interesting than a world that is hollow. Do you understand? People, even certain scientists and atheists don't understand the implication of what they say. Even anybody who said it's like, from nothing something has come. You see, it is such a massive event that it's like, to be a scientist is like to be on the back of a giant and being like, yo man, I think this view from this shoulder of the giant is the only view, but it will update in accordance to where on this giant's back I walk to, you know. All right, I've been trying to answer like, a fan's question for like 30 minutes. Let me figure this out. Okay, here, I'll just read it completely. I enjoy hearing your perspective on topics, specifically the difference between religion and spirituality, noticing the original and the simulation. The 3 levels, I like to hear more about experiencing level 3. You said God created man for the purpose of worshiping him. That means the system admin is testing us to see if we notice it. And then one thing I didn't understand was your use of the word mods and spaces. I'd be interested in understanding more about that too. Honestly, thanks for the engagement. Really what it is that I'm this person who's just viewing something in a certain way, and part of that explanation is all these ideas. You see, it's all starting from being like, where am I? Sorry guys, just a second. All right, guys, hang on. I'm gonna drive at the same time. The music's gonna be off. All right, so pretty much it's the metaphor of a system, right? I pretty much there's this concept called the archaic revival. Archaic revival means that like an ancient pattern of meaning is arising again. And so to me, I'm seeing the modern world go towards this notion of acknowledging reality as a system. And whether they acknowledge religion or not, the question that there's a system admin will always arise. That means you cannot prevent religion. It is just like how like trees are growing, in the sense that the question comes, what is the original power in a simulated system? Now, for example, just to use Discord. Okay, so Discord, you have people joining in, an admin creates the server, right? And then you can appoint moderators. Now the moderators have greater privileges than, in some sense, what you call like the users in the system. Okay, so when I say mods, I'm kind of telling all the spiritual people who are contacting like spiritual beings, they're spirit guys, or they think they're talking to source or angels, right, to be like you're interacting with mods. Okay, but the point, the thing, how religion is more advanced than spirituality, that means if spirituality is playing around with mods, right, interacting with the mods, religion is contacting directly the admin. Now, strangely, in human history, you would think that the advice would be like, yo, just the admin would say, yo guys, forget the mods, just listen to me, just do what I say, right? Or how would I say it? I'm pretty much saying that the admin that has created, like, imagine this Discord server, is pretty much saying, instead of you're being tested to see if you go directly to the system admin or if you go to the mods. And I'll be honest, mods is a suggestion of a worldly form, right? So how would I say it? It's like having privileges. Sorry, guys. See, for example, in my view, angels are mods, devils are mods, the cursed one, Shaitan, is a mod. Okay, it's a moderator. It has certain power over the simulation, right? But the admin is online always and can be reached at all times. The admin neither gets tired or falls asleep, So that's the whole thing about mods and the system admin. I'm pretty much saying spirituality is like noticing there's mods and interacting with them. Religion is going directly to the admin. That means in times of crisis, you don't call out the mods. You call out the one and only system admin that's defined beyond the system. The inspiration to create the system was beyond the system, before the system was here, It's kind of like wondering, what is your relationship with the value of life? It all comes down to that. And an individual at least from the religious perspective, has a unique value regardless of the life they have lived. I've honestly even prepared some stuff to read for this episode. I'll get to it when I finish my drive, but pretty much I'm saying it's so mysterious. Every human being has attempted to try to find the accurate value proposition to reality. Some have come to the conclusion that it's more than trying to find truth or be truth. You know, the system's approach is different. That means it's like from one angle, you know, if when I used to be spiritual, I was like, in my mind, I felt like I was this higher dimensional, being with a presence in a sort of unified state of being. I felt like a collective being when I used to be spiritual. But now I have simplified to an individual human being who is in the presence of a world with known and unknown variables, and there's a system admin that knows all the variables. A system admin that knows all the variables, which is another way of saying truth is accessible. But truth doesn't mean it's human satisfaction. Truth isn't like, yo man, I wanted that favorite food, and oh man, I found the favorite food. I found my truth, the food, the thing that tastes the best, the thing that gives me the most comfort. Who says comfort is a parameter for truth? Do you know who says truth has to be comfortable? Who says truth shouldn't be also comfortable? But I'm saying. Alright guys, the plane has landed. Passengers may open their seatbelts. Yeah. Alright, let's get to this. Alright. There's this song. Alright guys, back to it. Alright, I was supposed to read something for you. I might be just the silliest, most serious podcaster in history. I don't know. Alright, I got a better song than this. Okay. So I'm going to read for you first something, okay? I want to share with you more how my view is, but also because I'm Muslim, I must use those imagery. Why? Because it is original code. Because it's very important, the algorithms. That means if you saw the Holy Quran and you saw it as codes from algorithms, from the system admin, you would in some sense be astonished by such a book. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna read for you, and what I'm reading for you, okay, is so if somebody asked, why did God create man? And what is the true deep answer? In the Holy Quran, it says, and I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me. passage 51-56. Now, I want to keep reading for you. This verse clearly outlines the purpose behind creation, worship, ibadah in Islam. However, worship in Islam encompasses far more than ritual acts. It implies recognizing, submitting to, and living in alignment with the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in all aspects of life. Do you know what this means? See, level 3, guys, is about your interaction, your relationship with the higher power, okay? And people tend to have this relationship with the higher power People tend to have this relationship with the higher power. Where was I going with this? Pretty much when you notice that there is a system admin, you choose a relationship with it. And it's not per se always by your choice. Sometimes they call you. You're called by the system admin. Okay? Examples of that is very often, I think everybody at some point in their life is called by the system admin. But how they notice it or acknowledge it is another discussion. You know, for example, there's been different people, even myself, you know, it's I would say I'm someone who by my experience I was convinced this is the right way. Do you know? Because before that I was living in a way more open framework to reality. I shouldn't say open framework to reality, but you see, when you look at this world as a system, then code makes sense. Okay. So, level 3 of this earth game is worship. Worship is realizing this whole time there's been a system admin, and realizing this system admin is the ultimate value. It is a value. It is like if you thought about the most advanced, it would be it. If you thought about the most beautiful, the most intelligent, the most capable, and these attributes, okay, you would begin to see that the idea of God is the ultimatum of all ideas. What that, because all ideas are being seen conditionally as shaped and as having a certain power. So the question comes, what is the ultimate power? You see, there's different ways of interacting with the system admin. One is like by existing in the system, okay? Another is by how the system has meaning for you and how you communicate and use language. So there's like a physical relationship with the system admin in regards to worship and prayer, right? And then there is, in some sense, how would I say it? A relationship with the system admin through the domain of language, through the server of language, okay? And the third is by, as you truly, I don't know how to say this, I shouldn't say this is the true believer of God, I should say it's like once you truly feel and understand that there is a system admin present here, the ultimate, and it has 99 sacred names, which are manifestation. after your relationship with the system admin through language, your relationship becomes one of sincerity. This is key. Sincerity means if you like trust something, why do you trust it? Because you believe it is that value. And we human beings are being encouraged to, for a moment, pause and sincerely be like, okay, the system admin is here. This world has a system admin. Like, whoa. And to have that relationship in the sense of like, just like I trust the earth is gonna be here tomorrow, it's like you, or I shouldn't say, it should be way more sophisticated than that. It's like you trusting like your friend, but now you're trusting the creator of the whole system everybody's in. So religion is having a relationship with a higher power. And it's not about it like somebody shouting at you, believe in the higher power, man. You know, it's not like that. It's like you ask yourself, what sort of model of meaning can you give to the power of reality? And you're going to realize it's like concentric circles of how many ways it can be interpreted. So it's like having establishing an actual relationship with your system, with the system admin of the world. And it could start with something as simple as just like, you know, being happy you're existing at all. You know, it could start as simple as that, you know. So worship in Islam, in religion, is not just ritual act. It's maintaining a relationship with the original in a simulated testing zone. See, from that framework, it's like reasonable, you know. Here it says, I'm going to keep reading. I said I have stuff for you to read for you. On a deeper... So the explicit Quranic reason is to connect with the system admin. The system admin is not a worldly form. It's not like some dude, you know? It's not like some symbol either. Do you know what it is in some sense ultimate. I want you to imagine if the greatest, most powerful being was here right now. And this being was so great and powerful, it transcended human definition. Like, who are we to define the supreme, you know? It's like, you know, these hilariously in shows, maybe something like this exists, where like advanced aliens pass by Earth and they're like, okay, well, how about these creatures, you know? And then they're like, nah, these creatures still lie. It's like, oh my God, how like under-evolved are human beings, that they still rather they live in simulated lives than original. The original can be in many ways, you know, like, because there's many eyes, of course. But it doesn't. But the point is, one thing we all share in common. If God had a shape, then there would be conflict. But one thing that I think all religious people have in common is that since the power has to start from somewhere, there has to be an original power. Anyways, I want to keep going. On a deeper spiritual level, Islamic scholars and mystics, Sufis, delve into profound insights on why Allah created humanity. Guys, I'm not a Sufi, just tell people that. To me, it's not about the personal relationship only. God is not about just how my relationship with it, right? And a spiritual person is only fixed on their relationship with the higher power. When I say, so what would be beyond your one's relationship with the higher power? The higher power's relationship with you. Manifestation of divine attributes. This one I agree with. Tajalliyat. God possesses beautiful names and attributes such as mercy, rahmah, wisdom, hikmah, love, mahabba, and power, qudra. Guys, there's 99 names. The creation of humans provides the ground upon which these attributes can manifest. For instance, to demonstrate mercy, there must be beings who receive mercy. So guys, this is very profound, right? And this follows a kind of, honestly, response to the mystery of why we're here. You see, there is this, it seems to be that there is this perspective, and this perspective is in some sense being like, okay, there's a higher power. The higher power created this world, so, and created us so it can have a relationship with us. Do you understand? Like, if, from the perspective, I mean, I can in no way think I know what the system admin sees. I don't know anything. That's honestly like God's mercy to me that I don't know anything. Because sometimes knowing too much is like dying to who you were. I understood this the hard way. A human being doesn't just feel powerless externally. Internally, externally, you could be like, imagine like who's somebody who's badass in history. Let's say Marcus Aurelius, okay? You could be Marcus Aurelius externally like an emperor, but Marcus Aurelius 100% had days where he'd wake up and he'd be like, I have no clue what to do, man. You know? So reality, this makes a lot of sense to me, is why in the Holy Quran does it say that the purpose of man and jinn kind is to worship the one and only, to worship God? Simply because that's why it like 100% makes sense that establishing a relationship with the system admin is the expression of the system admin. I want you, whoever you are, to take one moment, just forget about everything and just take one moment and truly, silently within yourself, thank the system admin. Thank everything that has happened for you up to this point. Just be fascinated by how life, by how the system has brought you this far. You know, it's not that they say God is great, it's that without God, what greatness can there be? Man-made honor is nothing compared to having an honor for the original power inside a simulated world. Ibn Arabi explains that the universe is a mirror reflecting the divine names. Man, being the best and most comprehensive creation, serves as the most polished mirror capable of reflecting the fullness of divine attributes. Thus, humanity was created as a mirror of the divine. It's like the Sufi view. The next reason, deep answer, is vicegerency, khilafa, and responsibility. Another profound reason for humanity's creation mentioned in the Quran is to act as Khalifa, vicegerent on earth. In the Quran, passage 230, it says, "Indeed, I will make upon the earth a successive authority." Human beings have a sacred trust, amana, to act justly, ethically, compassionately, and responsibly, reflecting the attributes of the Creator in the management of the earth. You see, guys, another reason you exist, aside from connecting, like contacting the system admin, noticing the system admin, is to, in some sense, express, to, how would I say it? It's as if it's like you're a user in a system with system admin privileges. So you, out of all the creatures on this world, earth, have an ability to express, the higher system privileged, operating system codes. What I'm pretty much saying is, for example, a squirrel compared to a human has lesser ability to, in some sense, express the divine attributes of God. That means it's like it's not just noticing the system admin, it's realizing we are representation, capable of representing the values that the system admin presented us in. Alright, it's getting a little chilly. The secret of love and recognition, marifa. Sorry guys, I'm not Arabic. I mean, I don't know how to pronounce exactly what I'm doing my best. A central theme among Islamic spiritual thinkers is that creation arose from divine love. God wanted beings who could know Him, love Him, and freely choose obedience and intimacy with Him. The act of creation is thus seen as an act of love, a desire for recognition. A famous hadith Qudsi, hadiths are a sacred narration where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks through the Prophet, peace be upon him. So guys, this is something that, some schools, some people agree with, some people don't agree with in its authenticity. But anyways, it is an idea. And it says, this is the hadith, famous hadith Qudsi, I was a hidden treasure and I love to be known. So I created the creation in order that I might be known. Here it says, note, while its authenticity as a hadith is debated, it remains widely quoted by scholars and mystics due to its profound meaning. This illustrates that behind creation is a deeper secret, the divine longing to reveal Himself, to be recognized in love. Humanity's primary spiritual quest, therefore, is attaining marifa, intimate knowledge and awareness of God. And here it's kind of summarized that the ultimate profound reason behind human creation in Islam is to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through direct spiritual insight, marifa, to love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to be loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is so, you don't know how remarkable this is. When you are loved by the system admin, it's like, your ego code, dissolves in who you knew you have been. It says, the next one, to reflect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's divine attributes through ethical living and worship. The next one, to fulfill the sacred trust of being His vicegerent, Khalifa on earth. Guys, I think I mentioned this maybe, but maybe I didn't. It was during the phase where I wasn't giving the talks. And pretty much I had a dream one night where I was walking through between the pages of a giant Quran, right? And for a moment, like, I had this idea after I woke up where I was like, whoa, could the world be in this code? So worship, ibadah, it's like you're seeking the truth beyond you. That's it. All right. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. What is the mystery of why we're here? I'm gonna close the laptop. Actually, I can't close it. Okay. The mystery of why we're here. It's really what there is and what we can do with what we see there is. This might be, too bold of me, but I feel I see it. I see it for, like, this is what I'm seeing. Pretty much like 8 billion human beings. And they have a relationship with the system admin. And the whole thing just occurs. It's kind of a very bizarre feeling I have right now. I feel like I'm inside a system that I can see now. It's like step 1, find the system admin. Step 2, find the advanced civilization. Step 3, technically step 2 has covered it all. Human. what humans can do. How long has it been? It's been an hour. Oh my God. I just need one good song. One good song right now. All right. Viewers are like, what's up? There's so many ways to look at life, but it doesn't mean like all the ways we look at life are valid. And humanity is now challenged with the revival of the great mysteries. It's the archaic revival of a new generation of human beings walking towards the system admin, united through the presence and the realization of the mercy of the system admin. The advancement of humanity begins through the acknowledgement of the most advanced, and as we live through basking through the presence and conscious presence of a system admin, an advanced civilization takes place as if the seeds for it had been planted before existence had shape. And then it will slowly begin to happen. The advancement of civilization, the advancement of human behavior, the advancement of human perspectives to the true value of what a human being is not just a culturally programmed and defined entity. You are not only a vicegerent, an ambassador of the system admin on Earth, able to be present in its presence. You are also a human being, a member of the human species, a member of this planetary effort to survive. You must have two senses of honor at this point. Let's say you don't honor yourself or you don't know how. But you can honor your species, and prior to that, the most important, honor the origin of your species, the system admin. System admin is God, is like realizing God is here and you just conscious with that consciousness function. So now, for the advancement of civilization, there's a saying Islamically where it seems that somebody came up to the Prophet, peace be upon him, and said, should I tie my camel or should I just leave it here and it's whatever's destined is going to happen? And the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, tie your camel and also maintain your faith for the bigger picture. So we have to tie our camel hilariously, which means we got to do the best we can. And then we have to have faith in the system admin. And then we are kind of, you know, being driven to where our eyes must be. The analysis of the human situation is not that complicated. You know, just like how a person's body needs to move, I believe also that our intelligence needs to advance. What is true intelligence? Is it being a simple being and functioning in a system? Or is it being so complex that you have to know everything before you know anything? The power of this world surpasses it. That means we are inside the dunya, the world, the simulation. We do also have a simulated position like a player in a video game kind of situation. But now, this player in the video game is being told that it's a video game, that there's a position prior to what the game implied. Do you see what I'm saying, dear human beings? I'm saying that it doesn't matter how much knowledge our species gets, the superior truth to the world, the superior levels to this game here, is your closeness to the original power. Now, I've prayed for an advanced civilization. Why? Because I see no reason for it not to be here. I see no reason for the most advanced decisions being made all the time. Like it should be like that. But the most advanced information, decision is based on the most advanced information, right? I think a technocracy is unavoidable. Anyways, thank you for listening. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Rapid fairly, may God forgive us for the sins we know we make and we don't know. And honestly, guys, the mystery of the world is wondering about its intelligence, trying to realize that it has a vastness to that intelligence that is incomprehensible to man. Once man is in an inferior position, it realizes that, all right, I'm not the most powerful being, I'm not an unlimited being, I'm a limited being. Therefore, and the advantage of being a limited being is you have shape. And so the question is, the shapes of the world that lead to the value system of the world, how in some sense are you going to live through the next shape of reality? You see, it's about what these 8 billion creatures do and what happens because of what they do. But also the realization that it's not up to them what they do. Anyways, thank you for listening, guys. I've kept you guys here for a while. Thank you. Blessings.